Hi, I'm Barry, I'm Barry Worthington. I'm a filmmaker, director, writer, and actor, and I do all kinds of other film work. How's this? How's this for an angle? This is different, but I think it's creative. I think it's, I think it's neat. Okay, so I did something I thought some of you might appreciate. Sometimes I like to collect all kinds of different things, including magazines. And there's one magazine in particular I've wanted for a very long time. And so one of the reasons I'm making this video is to share how fun I think this is with you, but also I thought by opening the magazine, it would actually be a little bit of a time capsule to what life in 1997 was like. I'm filming this way because we're going to open a magazine and I'm going to read it. And as I do so, I'm going to be flipping around kind of like this every now and then and back to here. Because when I originally read this magazine, I'm sure I read it on the floor just like this when I was a kid. So I thought it'd be fun. So right now it's June 27th, 2024. I am 35 years old. Around this time, 1997, this would have been from a few months before I turned, I think, 9 years old. So I guess this was the summer where I was about to go into 4th grade. And I think I've talked about how my 4th grade year ended up being a very important one for me in my filmmaking journey. That's where I, in a pretty big way, took a big step forward, deciding this is what I wanted to do with my life. I'm gonna give a big shout out to Mr. Moore for helping me with that. And thank you to all my teachers and all my mentors and everyone who's helped me on my journey. By this time in my life, I knew that I loved Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, and I really wanted to be like them. One day I was with my dad at the local 7-Eleven, which is still there. And they used to have this magazine rack where they had comic books and all kinds of different things, including Time magazine. And I will never forget seeing this magazine on that rack. So this is a magazine for when The Lost World Jurassic Park was about to come out, and on the cover was Steven Spielberg. I bought it, or maybe I asked my dad if he could buy it for me, and it was mine, and I loved it. But I'm not sure whatever happened to it. So recently I went on eBay and bought another copy. And it just arrived recently, and I am about to open it on camera, sharing this experience with you. I have not seen this magazine in probably 20 years or so, maybe probably a lot more than that. But what I can still remember very clearly is in this magazine, I'm positive there is a photograph of Steven Spielberg in, I think, a director's chair inside a soundstage with big soundstage doors next to him, I guess behind him, and they're open, and you see these big feet of the T-Rex outside. I still remember that, and I bet we're going to find that when we open this. I've also used some of my gaff tape to try to hide whenever there's something that reveals who the original owner of this magazine was, which I'm sure they appreciate. And hopefully this is going to be a lot of fun. All right, you ready? Here we go. So here it is. The trick is to open this without ripping the magazine. That would be pretty bad. All right, here we go. Hey, there it is. Let me cover the name and address of the person this came from. Here it is. Hey. That's awesome. That's awesome. And did I see there's a cigarette ad on the back? This is very cool. It says, if you were Steven Spielberg, you'd be smiling too. I remember this. I remember the red curtains, the Raptors, everything. All right, so this came out May 19th, 1997. All right, let's take a look through here. So you got a Honda. This is an ad for the Honda, the Accord V6 sedan. This is, just right there in the opening. I got to be careful with this. This is very I got to be careful. An ad for Smirnoff. Here's this, Sparks. Here's a little bit of the inside here. It says, this is in the art section. Cover, Close Encounters with Steven Spielberg. Hollywood's erstwhile boy wonder, creator of Jaws and E.T., is 50. The devoted father of 7 and a dedicated mentor to a new generation of filmmakers. All right. All right. It's good. It's good. All right. He returns this month from a 3-year directorial hiatus with the eagerly anticipated sequel to Jurassic Park and the power to help American movies achieve their own coming of age. Oh man, I just saw what was under that. Under music, led by Hanson, Tot Pop is scoring on the charts. Let me just see what else we have. Merchandise for the Rosie O'Donnell show. You can buy a Wallace and Gromit talking alarm clock and a Late Show with David Letterman sweatshirt and tees. That's all right here. All right, what else you got? Oh my gosh, look at this ad for this minivan. All right, I'm jumping ahead to the Spielberg part, which again, I haven't seen this in so long. So I hope I'm pronouncing these folks' names right. This is by Richard Corliss and Jeffrey Ressner. And here it is. It says, Peter Pan grows up, but can he still fly? I told you, I knew it was here. I told you, there it is. That's awesome. Maybe there will be a photo of me like this one day. If there isn't one already. Maybe you too. If you don't mind, this is important to me. I'm going to read this out loud. So there's a quote, I think, from him talking about Jaws in 1975. I think this is a quote from Steven Spielberg. The loneliest time of my life. Jaws exacerbates the loneliness by the sheer size of the Atlantic Ocean and the challenge of shooting a complete motion picture on the water. Advice I should think about as I venture to make my first feature-length film, which currently is not set on the ocean. But nonetheless, that advice might come in very handy. Oh yes, to note, and in case you haven't seen my other videos, I'm in the middle of pre-production for my first feature-length film, which I hope to get started filming and releasing soon. I've made a whole bunch of other short films, but this is going to be my first feature-length film. Check this out. This is a quote from George Lucas in here. It says, "People like Steven don't come along every day," says his friend and frequent collaborator George Lucas. "And when they do, it's an amazing thing. It's like talking about Einstein or Babe Ruth or Tiger Woods. He's not in a group of filmmakers his age. He's far, far away." Hey, check this out. This is a quote talking about how the success of the first Jurassic Park kind of demanded a sequel. It says, "Spielberg felt burned by sequels he had not controlled, especially those to Jaws, which Universal farmed out to other directors." Says Kathleen Kennedy, his longtime associate and one of the producers of Jurassic Park, and I think this is long before she was running Lucasfilm, by the way. She says, "Steven Stills harbors a bit of regret about the way Jaws 2 and 3 turned out." Now, here's just a little thing I want to say about that. That I actually like Jaws 2 and Jaws 3. And there's a quote here, I think, from him that says, "I wanted to see a T-Rex stomping down a street." And that's how I felt as well. And here's a photo. This is probably like one of the first photos I saw of The Lost World Jurassic Park. I can't remember if the movie had come out by the time I first read this, and by the time that this magazine came out. But I vaguely remember seeing this photograph in this magazine as well. Well, that was very cool. That was really awesome. I hope you enjoyed that. You can try to get one of these yourself. There's plenty of people on eBay who are selling them. All right? I hope you enjoyed that. And I'll tell you what, I'll put this out in the universe. Why not? Mr. Spielberg. Can I call you Steven? I'm going to keep calling you Mr. Spielberg personally until you tell me otherwise. If you ever want to get a cup of coffee or something, just let me know. Okay, and that'll do it for me. You can check out more of my films and my work at limitlessfilms.com. All right, everyone. Bye for now.